Hello, it's Justin, and as you can see, I'm not in New York City. I'm staying with my parents and my brother in the countryside. And today I wanted to share with you a story about how Isaac Newton changed the world and how he did all of that during quarantine. And I think it's very relevant because today we are also in quarantine because of the coronavirus pandemic, and we should think about and reflect on how we're using this time at home and whether we're being productive or we're really squandering our time, because I think time is the most important thing. You have a certain amount of time in your life, and everyone has 24 hours a day, and the choices we make will determine how our lives will turn out in the future. So this story is about Isaac Newton and how he changed the world. So back in 1665, when Isaac Newton was 22 years old, which is coincidentally my age now, there was a great plague in London. The bubonic plague reached England for a second time, or it wasn't the first time, but it was one of the last times it hit England, but it was very devastating. And London was very hard hit. Eventually, a quarter of the population was killed from the plague, so it was a huge pandemic. And Isaac Newton was quarantined because of this. So he was just in Cambridge, and he was studying. He just got his bachelor's degree. And when the bubonic plague hit, he had to go back to his home, and he can't study anymore. He can't work. He had so many opportunities because he just graduated, and he can't take advantage of that because London was locked down, England was quarantined, and everyone was fighting the plague and staying home so the plague doesn't spread too quickly and hurt more people. So it's a similar situation that we have today, except at that time it was more deadly because of a variety of reasons. First, the bubonic plague is very, very deadly, and also the medical technology back then was nowhere near as good as it is now. So Isaac Newton went back to his family farm in the countryside in Wolfthorpe, which I think is in Lincolnshire in England, and he was basically quarantined. He had so many things he could do with his degree, but now he can't, so he stayed home. But instead of wasting his time and squandering his time, he used it extremely productively, because that year, that time when he was in quarantine was the most productive time in his entire life. During his time in quarantine, he invented calculus, he discovered gravity, he developed the laws of motion, he revealed how light and optics worked, and he also discovered the color spectrum and showed us how that worked out and how the light coming from the sun can be separated into the color spectrum, and a lot of other scientific and mathematical advances that are essential to how the modern world works. And the things he discovered while he was in quarantine, like calculus, the foundations of physics, all of that is extremely useful and was responsible for the great engineering feats, the great inventions, and the great scientific advancements that created the modern world. So Isaac Newton basically laid the foundation of the modern world while he was in quarantine. And he was only 22 years old. He was in quarantine for a year or two. And another fun fact was, this was the time when the story of the apple falling on top of Newton's head and him discovering gravity, this is when it happened. Even though I'm not sure if it's actually true or it actually happened or not, but the story took place during this time. So all these basic foundations of math, of calculus, of physics were invented by Newton during quarantine, and that just shows you how much you can do while you're at home. So I wanted to share this story because I think that now that everyone's at home, we have a lot of free time, but a lot of people are squandering their time. They're spending too much time watching Netflix, doing other unproductive stuff and not really using their time efficiently. And that is a problem because life is competitive and life is short. We are not, well, I can say for young people, we are not young all the time. I mean, we're not young forever, and we don't live forever. There's only a certain time that we have in this world, and we shouldn't squander it. And we should put that time to use to really achieve our goals, pursue our dreams, work on our passions, work on ourselves, improve ourselves, and really try to use this time productively. Because like I said, life is competitive, and while other people are mostly wasting their time and not really doing productive stuff during all this time at home, you could be really getting ahead, and eventually you'll win at whatever you want to do. So I wanted to encourage people to get on their purpose and work on whatever that excites them, whether that is if they want to start a business eventually, if they want to have a startup, if they want to do research, work on themselves, read, educate themselves, learn a language, prepare for whatever they want to do after this quarantine is over. I think this is the time to do it. So now that we have all this time at home, it's really a great opportunity, and I don't want myself to squander it, and I don't want other people to squander it, and I want to use this time productively and inspire others to do the same, just like Isaac Newton used his time in quarantine very productively to completely change the world. And I think that's very inspiring, and that's very motivating, and is very relevant to what's happening right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are inspired to really work on whatever you're passionate about. So if you have a goal, if you have a dream, work on that, because now you have the time to do it, and you don't have to commute anywhere. If you're still working, you can work at home, and you can save time commuting, and you can work on your own stuff as well. And just don't squander this time, because I think it's important that we don't treat this time as a suspension of our lives, but as an opportunity to work on what we're passionate about. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you get notified when new videos come out. Follow me on Instagram, where you can DM me, and follow me on Medium, where I write about the same topics I talk about on YouTube. The links for my Instagram and Medium are in the description. So thank you. I hope you are more inspired and motivated to be productive during this difficult time, and I'll see you next time.